Good morning, everyone. Uh, so this video, I'm planning to give you a overall idea about the assessment for OHTS. All right. So whoever following the course will be watching this video would know that you have to pass the subject. You have to submit this assignment. So I have given you some exercises. But I didn't make them mandatory. So those are like homework type of exercises. I gave you the bomb exercise and few other things, right? So hope that you have done those exercises, which you probably would get good knowledge about what we have covered. All right. So now to sum up what we have done up to this point, right? So from day one, what we have covered, so which you probably will get a good idea about uh, what to expect to the course and also what we have done, and then move on and finish the course, and you will get your grade. So you all planning for A or A plus. So that's where you're heading. And of course, we had some drawbacks and setbacks because of the corona, but still, I think you guys are working with the content. And so original idea for HTS for me was to prepare for OSCP exam. So I believe we have covered some content related to OSCP, where once you finish the course, you'll be in a good condition to go and try this course or the certification, right? And of course, you are still not ready. The PC at the end of the semester will have a kind of a feedback session to understand how ready you are, right? So and basically original idea was to cover like some part of OCP, some part already have covered, like things like web security and basics of security, crypto, and all the other related things. We have covered some of these things, but my major focus uh, was on this course, like it's offensive security. So basically to gear you up with the tools to do exploit development. So because this is like the ultimate thing, right? So exploit development is the ultimate thing in the what do you call the offensive security or pen testing. So you can use basic hacking techniques, tools, things like Metasploit, right? So all these things anybody can use, right? And Nessus, Nmap. So you have those skills, right? But rather, the exploit development skills would be the top. So only a handful of people would have these skills. But of course, right now in the world there are plenty of exploit developers. But to create a good exploit developer in you, it might take some time. And once you can do that, you will have enough opportunities here, here in Sri Lanka or elsewhere, or you can work online. So there are so many things that you can do. You can do patch development, you can do vulnerability analysis, you can do bug bounty, you can do work for malware analysis, so many things. So the most important skill would be exploit development, right? So you'll be able to develop your exploits, and you develop your exploit code, and you are going to attack a vulnerable system. So it can be a web system, or it can be an IoT device, or it can be a mobile device or an Android app, or it can be so famous Windows Server. All right, so Windows Server, right? Or it can be a Linux box, or it can be any other. So this side you have all your vulnerabilities, right? And this side you are developing your exploit. So once you have the exploit, you'll be able to uh, mm, explore this particular system and break it or hack it. So that's basically what you do, right? So when you want to exploit development, there are a few uh, techniques, some skills that we should learn. So of course, so this is what we have covered. Just check whether we have covered these things in the lectures. So I have not touched a lot on Linux, right? So you have to know Linux and of course Windows as well. But learning Linux would have definite advantage, right? So I'm not saying you don't need Windows, but you also need some Windows skills as well. So I have not touched anything on this because you have learned these things earlier. But if I have time, I'll do some PowerShell video, which try to give you a kind of idea about Linux or Windows kernel. Right. Then, of course, you need to know the computer architecture, right? So without knowing computer architecture, so I found that some people are still having issues with this, and also introduction to programming, like pointers and how these things works. So this is also important, right? And then very important to know assembly, especially x86 assembly, right? So I think we have covered this a bit to some extent, which is enough for you to do exploit development, right? So then you have to know tools like GDB, WinDebugger, and all these other things, right? All right, and also very important, right? Computer's memory, right? So how the memory works or memory segmentation. So there we learn the stacks. So stack is the heart of everything, right? And of course we should not forget heap, right? You need to have the knowledge of both. But how the stack works would be something pretty important, right? Then you need to know, right? C, C++. C would be the better choice. So you need the C, right? C language. And also, okay, so the previous video I covered buffer overflows. Buffer overflows like would be the sysarmy knife here. So it's like the killer thing. So buffer overflows are important. And of course, what follows would be stack overflows, Linux overflows, Windows overflow, which can do all these things, right? So stack overflow. And also, then there's another killer tool which is socket programming. So once you know sockets and bit of network programming, you'll be able to go ahead with this exploit development. Without knowing much of exploits in networking, you'll not be able to do great things. So you need that as well. And also fuzzing. So I'll do a lecture on fuzzing. So that's something you probably have not heard, fuzzing. So and also Python. So I think I have done some Python coding as well. Yeah, so brush up your skills on Python, know the libraries, blah, 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 right? So I use basically the socket library. So this is what we have done and we are planning to do also. So some of the things I haven't done yet, especially the fuzzing part, which I'll do, or Stack Overflow, which I'll do. Other things, yeah, to some extent, I'm not saying 100%, but to some extent I have covered. Right, and also so there are some other extended topics, format string vulnerabilities, and also return-oriented programming. If you have time, I'll do that, but not exactly necessary to do. All right. So this is like the overall picture of what we have done, and where we headed, and so you can have a kind of an overall picture where we are heading and what are our expectations, right? Right. So next is, other than the few homework that I have given, I give you a lot more if you want to practice, of course. We have to worry now about two things. First, I'll worry about the assignment, right? So don't assume that the things that are given is assignment. No. So now up to this point, it is better that I have given this assignment a bit earlier, but see, that's how time works. Don't worry, I'll give you like 1 month period. 1 month will be more than enough. You need only like 5 hours to do this, maximum 5 hours, right? Maximum. So I'm giving 1 hour, sorry, 1 month. So that's a lot. So don't have any sort of worries with you, or just don't come to me and say, so we don't have time. No, you have enough time. You have plenty of time. You have a lot of time to do this. So I don't see any point to worry about it, right? So you have to do this assignment. So today is 13th, all right? Hope that you'll watch my video today, even though it's New Year Day. See, we don't have New Year, right? So this year we don't have New Year, but you do have to have New Year, right? But please, start it tomorrow onwards. So by May 10th of May, 10th of May, oh no, we'll say 5th of May, you have to submit the assignment. So that's the deadline. Right, so this is what you guys have to do. So basically, you guys have to this is the task, right? Assignment task, the project, exploit development. So this is what you have to do. So what is the hell that you have to do it? What is exploit development? So I'll explain, don't worry. So this is what we have learned throughout, so you'll be able to understand now, but still, if you are not really sure what is it, I'm going to explain. So this is the idea, right? So if you can remember the buffer flow that I did, right? So this buffer flow can be extended as a exploit developer. So what you can do, you can find out uh, a software, right? A software, say like FTP server, small FTP server, open source FTP server, where you'll find a vulnerability inside, right? You'll find a vulnerability inside, say in this FTP server, there, of course, they use string copy, right? So now you know this FTP server, when it's up and running, it's vulnerable, right? You know that, right? You know that for sure. So now you can, of course, set up a scenario where you host this FTP server and you write your code, right? You write your code and probably talk to the server, and then you write your own Python script, right? And then you are going to do a proper buffer overflow, right? You do a buffer overflow, and then you are going to inject your code and do some malicious activity. Maybe you are going to get a reverse shell. So then you get the reverse shell. So now you own the FTP server. So that's a simple exploit development in action, or exploit in action. All right. Hope that is clear to you. So now what you have to do now, so once you do this process, so once you once you develop this process, so that we call as a proof of concept. So you have to have a proper documentation. So meaning you have to have a say a Word or a PDF file. So Word would be better. File explaining your POC, right? Proof of concept, the proof. So with diagrams, coding, technology, everything, right? So that has to be clearly defined. All right. So you might have now several questions. So don't worry. Like I try to make it more clearer, right? So once you have this proof, you have to document it. So the submission wise, right? So the first submission should be a kind of a document, right? Clear document. So that should be there. So that should be with all the nice explanations, everything, covering everything, right? So a second one, of course, is a video demonstrating everything that you have done. Like my video explaining buffer flow 1 hour. So, okay, so to make sure that, say, whether it's a smaller one or this can be a very simple one maybe, but you have to explain it clearly. Say probably we need to have a 30 minutes video minimum, right? So that indicates that you have what you have to explain. And documents also we say you have to have at least 10 pages, at least 10 pages, right? So that should give you idea about what sort of depth that you have to go, right? All right. So but we have a common sense, right? So you have a video where you just start and wait for 10 minutes, then start speaking. So that's not common sense, right? So just understand. So there should be explanation, proper explanation, right? Now there are so many techniques that you can use to do this. You can use fuzzing, right? You can use buffer overflows. You can use a stack overflow. You can do Windows exploit development, so you can hack Windows 32 API. So there are so many things to select. So I don't want two people doing the same thing. So I don't want that. So what you have to do, right? So once you see this video, I'll make sure I will host a Windows Teams meeting, and that day you have to provide me your topics. So that's the so then I'll approve your whatever you have to do. You can't do it within that day. So within a week or so you have to submit your topic properly. So this is what I'm going to do. So see, two people cannot do the same thing. That should be the logic, right? And also now I'll give you a list of things that you can do, like fuzzing, Windows 32 exploits, Stack Overflow, Buffer Overflow. So all these things we'll discuss, right? But now see, this can happen very clearly. So now this is something, even though you learn a lot of things, this can be something bit new. So you will find a lot of references in the internet. You'll find a lot of exploits being done, tutorials, right? So that's completely okay, right? So you find a particular tutorial which hacks Windows 32 with a code and some exploit development techniques. Right? But please do understand, you can't do hack a Windows box using Metaswitch. No, that's not the case. You have to go into the code level, shell level, right? So that's what you have to do. So you have to do a buffer overflow or fuss or whatever, something that you guys do. All right. So there you find a nice reference in Live Overflow YouTube channel. So you find this nice tutorial. So you can do that. That's fine. But see, if you just get a tutorial and one by one, if you try to do it and create a video or document, see, what you have to do is you have to be honest and refer everything that you've taken, the tutorial, documentation, code, wherever you are. Right? So then try to understand there's no much of an innovation from your side. So if you're getting marks from 100, everything is fine. You have gone to details, you get a marks of say 60. But if you have your own things, own code written, so these marks will go higher. So meaning it doesn't mean that you can't look at a tutorial and do that. You can, obviously. There's no questions. But you get more marks when you have innovation. But one thing to understand, never ever say this is your own one, taking somebody else's work. So just refer. That's okay. Completely okay. You get your marks. And if you do a real, very interesting, difficult type of exploit development, you get marks anyway. So you get, the only thing is, if it is not, nothing is your own, just say it. Just say it. So these videos I will get it and I will upload it to some place where others can see. So make sure you say that, okay, this is somebody else's work, so I give full credit to them. So that's what you have to say. But at the same time, you can say, so, sorry, I couldn't do on my own. That's okay. So you get a top mark, right? Depending on how good you are doing that and how clear you are and all these other things, right? So you get a top mark. Say you can even go up to 80, right? So you can go for A without any problem. But the rest of the marks, very clearly, if you have your own unique thing, right, you get full marks. So you can get even 100 marks. So that you have to be 100% clear. All right, so don't worry, you can ask all your questions later. So this is like an introductory session. We'll arrange a session, live session, where I'll be available, so two-way communication channel, so we can discuss it. All right, so there are so many things that you can do, right? So if you want, you can do web exploitation. So use WebSockets and you do a nice web exploitation into a server. Right? So only thing is, don't do anything illegal. So use your own platform, like your own local host. There are so many platforms you can download and do it, right? So use one of them, and it's okay, right? So you can use like command injection, SQL injection. So only thing is, don't use whatever the basic 101 tools. So go detail. That's what is necessary. And of course, we haven't covered anything on web exploitation in our course, but you can opt to select it. And of course, you can do binary exploitation. So we have done binary exploitation. So in binary exploitations, you can do Linux buffer overflows, Windows buffer overflows, and you can do format string vulnerabilities. So I'll cover that as well. Format string, if time permits, right? Format string, and also buffer overflows with ROPs. So you can check those things and try out, right? And you can there's something called race conditions. So see, like, we are not there. I'm not here to teach you everything. So just find out something interesting, right? So more. The thing that is more interesting, you get more marks for sure. And of course, cloud-based vulnerabilities, right? So again, don't use live systems. It should be your own system. And also, you can have Windows exploitations. So I haven't mentioned it. Yeah, Windows exploitations. Windows exploitations. All right. Okay. And then you can use what else? Even IoT base, if you have Arduino board or something, you can work on that. So sky is the limit here, right? Okay, guys. So hope you understand that part. All right. So what else you can do? Yes, you can then. Yeah. So those are the major ones, right? Let me check if there's anything else that I can push you towards. And you can of course have shell codes, right? shell codes for sockets. So that's interesting. Remote executions, remote stuff. So that's a lot of these things have a remote anyway. Yeah, so those are the things. All right, so this is what you are supposed to do. So start now, right? So it's a very interesting exercise, and you will also learn a lot. So this is like, you learn a lot. Now you have to summarize and coordinate all these efforts to do some practical activity, right? Your own, right? And also you get fun out of it, and also mm, you will learn a lot out of it, and you will integrate all your knowledge into one place, right? So that's really important. All right. Okay, so that's basically about the assessment, right? Okay, next the most important final exam. Right. So now talk a bit about this. So actually, 2 days back, we got kind of a directive from management and the faculty that we can have the final exam in different formats. The first format is to have a MCQ based exam, right? MCQ based exam. Second format is a assignment again, right? So assignment, not like this assignment where you don't have a lot of time. So you get normally like maximum of 24 hours. So within a day, you are supposed to complete the exercise and you have to submit it to the place that I'm going to refer, right? Okay, I forgot to mention your assignment work you can submit to GitHub. That's much easier, so I can uh, use your GitHub account to do that. And here also assignment, given the location, I can get those values, or sorry, get those documents and I can mark it. So that will be a final exam, right? And also, yeah, so those are the major two options. Or we can have an online exam as well. This is also online exam, but I can have online practical as well. Has 3 hours. So actually, I have not decided at this particular moment. Today is 13th, and now it's almost 10:30. At this particular moment, I have not decided to what to give, but I'm thinking in between. So we'll meet soon, and you also can give your comments, because originally what I thought was to have a kind of a like 5 to 6 hour practical exam. So that was my plan. So where you get the flavor of OSCP, so you do some activities and you submit it. So that was the idea. But we see how difficult it is. If you do MCQ exam, it's much easier for me because everything get marked at the same instant. I don't have to do any marking. So a lot of people, a lot of lecturers are opting to select MCQ. Uh, let's see. I can be liberal about this and listen to your thoughts as well. Then I will quickly decide it, right? So yeah. So then the idea would be, I think I'm not really sure, but there was a comment like say, this is with the current situation. But if you are not happy with the grade because of the examination structure, not anything else, right? Not about the assignment. Assignment will be there. Final exam, I think you have an option to select for another resetting. But see, this will never ever, don't think it's an alternative. So you have to sit for this, right? You have to sit for this, right? That's sort of a liberal thing to do. Right. So, and if you have any specific individual issues, so I'm open to you. So I can listen to you and I can see what we can do about it. So, but see, like we have to do things faster. That's the only concern. But we'll see. All right. But we'll see. All right. So that's basically about it. So probably one more thing to show. So I'm going to create the Teams account or Teams. Yeah, I can create a Microsoft Teams, and I'm going to have you all there. And so I'll show what's going to happen anyway. Okay. So basically, it's basically a simple thing where I will have a link to connect to. So I will share it in the Slack, right? So where you guys can quickly join in, and then we can have an online meeting. So I was planning to, I'm planning to have it actually tomorrow, but you have to tell me. Tomorrow is 14th, that is a Tuesday. I don't know whether you'll all watch this one, but yeah, All right, so yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have create a Teams here. So my machine is really slow at this particular moment. Right. So if we have that session, say max like worst situation on Wednesday, that is on 15th, we can discuss all this and basically come into a good conclusion, a proper conclusion. So anyway, so get this Teams invitation. So once you get it, please quickly join in. Then I'd approve you also. Once you approve, we'll set up the meeting. Okay. Yeah. So I will set this up now, and you'll get the invitation soon into the future. Right. All right, guys. See you soon then in our Teams meeting. All right. And also, whoever is doing machine learning also will have a very similar session. And please, if you watch this, if you're doing OHTS, if you're doing MLCS, please check that one as well. Thank you.